Before we kick things off, we have our little commercial that we have to do to make this official. So again, on August 21st, 2020, our Governor J.B. Pritzker again declared pursuant to Section 7 of the Illinois Emergency Management Agency Act 20 ILCS 3305-7 that a disaster exists in Illinois as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. As such, per SB 2135, recently passed by the General Assembly, I, as the Mayor of Lamont, in accordance with the aforementioned declaration of emergency by the governor, finds that it is not practical or prudent to have an in-person meeting tonight. Additionally, for the record, this meeting is being conducted via the Zoom virtual platform. Notice of same was given to the public, and at least one person, in this case, George Schaefer, our village administrator, is present at Village Hall as is required by the newly amended act. So with that commercial out of the way, I'd like to call the September 14th, 2020 Village Board meeting to order. Would you please join me for our Pledge of Allegiance to kick things off? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Charlene, do you want to kick it off with the roll call, please?
Yes, this evening we'll be starting with Trustee Snagowski.
Here.
Stapleton.
Here.
Kittredge.
Here.
Kwasniewski.
Here.
Maher.
Here.
McClafferty.
Here.
Okay, great. Thanks, Charlene. Before we get into special mayor's mention, we got to quickly go through our consent agenda, which consists of the following. We have the, or George, do you want to give some tidbits on tonight's meeting first?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief. You covered the electronic board meeting while we're having it tonight. I do want to make mention that we do offer opportunities for public comment prior to the meeting and also during the meeting. Prior to the meeting, comments can be sent in to Village Hall via email or mail or dropped off at Village Hall. We did not receive any. You can view the meeting live on our Village YouTube station and also after the meeting. And then you can also view it on our Agenda Center. And then where you guys are here tonight, you can also participate in the live meeting here on Zoom, and everything will be rebroadcast on Channel 6 afterward. So I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thanks, George. Okay, consent agenda consists of the approval of minutes from the August 24th Village Board meeting. We have approval of disbursements. We have an ordinance O-56-20 approving an easement agreement between the Village of Lamont and William Brennan, owner of 14363 and 14393 Main Street, Lamont, Illinois. Lastly, we have an ordinance O-57-20 amending the Lamont Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04, Section 5.04.060 for alcoholic beverages, increasing the number of A1 liquor licenses. I need a motion, please.
So moves McClafferty.
Second, Kittredge.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee McClafferty, seconded by Trustee Kittredge to approve the consent agenda. Do we have any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda? Okay, no questions or comments by the trustees. Charlene, can you do roll call, please?
Snagowski.
Yes.
Stapleton.
Here.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Kwasniewski.
Yes.
Maher.
Yes.
McClafferty.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. Next up, we got the mayor's report to kick things off. We lost a dear friend on August 25th. Tonight, we pay special tribute to former Mayor Joe Forsley. We honor both Joe and his dear wife Bernice with a proclamation recognizing their 70th wedding anniversary back on April 23rd of this year. To reiterate that proclamation in his obituary listed countless committees and boards that Joe served on. This included the Lamont School Board, the Lamont Planning and Commission, as well as the Lamont Village Board. Joe assumed the duties of mayor back in 1989, in which he provided great leadership to the village of Lamont and contributed to its vitality towards a better quality of life for our citizens, not only during his 4-year term, but definitely during his entire life. But tonight, we want to acknowledge the type of person Joe was. With us this evening, we have a couple of former mayors with us, some honorary guests that will share some of their thoughts. I bet you, or I guarantee you, there are a lot of great stories that go way back. Joe has been able to share just a few with me himself. He was definitely the kind of guy who really wanted to get to know you as a person. And you would always hear the word straight from him. It was always straight talk. And he never failed to pick up the phone to call Village Hall if he had any questions. Got to be able to enjoy going out to lunch with him. One of the first calls I received, after myself being elected was from Mayor Joe Forsley. And he's just a gentleman, a great guy, loves Lamont. I was very grateful to spend, a couple lunches with him. He would take out former mayors, police chiefs, and we just, had a great time, but we got to share some of the memories and that he had. And, it was just a simple thing, just sitting down and talking to him. He's just, like I said, he was a total gentleman and wonderful person. Joe, having been raised and born in Lamont, obviously cared deeply about our village. He was a man of faith, family, and I think it would be safe to say he liked to have fun as well. Some of those stories we might not be able to share, but Joe was definitely an outgoing guy. He enjoyed life and he made many friends along the way. And definitely I feel honored to call him a friend. It is evident in the amount of involvement he had in so many realms, helping out others. And he's always been a great advocate of the community. We are grateful for his years of service in our country, for our country, I should say. He served in World War II. And more importantly, he served, pretty much the rest of his life right here in Lamont. And we are grateful for that. He will be deeply missed and forever honored. And with that being said, I don't know how good our technology is, but I think, George, you might have a video for us. Is that correct? You want to try and run that?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I don't know if we mentioned it at a meeting prior, but village resident Lenore Duffy has put together video features on prominent Lamont residents, and she put together a really good one on Joe that I'm going to try to load up real quick through Zoom. It's a short video. If it doesn't work, I'll just turn it right back over to you. But let me try this real quick, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, George, for putting that together with the help of our residents. And, again, Joe and Bernice, great family. Forsleys are well-known in Lamont. Very honored to have them in Lamont. And we're honored also tonight to have a couple of special guests with us. We have former Mayor Rick Kwasniewski, as well as Mayor John Piazza. Rick, do you want to share some of your thoughts or comments about Joe with us?
Sure. Did George unmute me or?
Yep, you're good.
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 Thanks. Yeah, definitely. I could tell you I served with Joe back in the late 80s. I was young and was a trustee and didn't know a lot. And I could tell you right now, Joe Forsley taught me a great deal about how to deal with people, how to deal with situations. And we had many projects that were happening back in the late 80s. And Lamont is, I think, ever the better for Joe Forsley being mayor. And quite frankly, for him teaching me many things that helped me throughout my career. Projects that we worked on was obviously the Village Hall renovation. Obviously, it's been renovated again, but that was a priority to Joe to make sure that we kept, the Village Hall in downtown Lamont, because he felt that downtown was critical to the vibrancy of Lamont and its future, including the downtown areas. We did a lot of obviously studies and so forth that needed to be done. And quite frankly, what happened during Joe's career as mayor and mine in downtown wasn't very attractive. I mean, we did a lot of planning. We did a lot of tearing the streets up and sewer work and so forth, if anybody remembers that. And all that was necessary to set the plan together that Joe kind of implemented. And quite frankly, everybody's following through now. And we've got a really vibrant downtown. And I think a great deal of that goes back to Joe Forsley's vision when he was the mayor. Other things, I attended numerous meetings with him with the Southwest Council of Mayors, the Illinois Municipal League. And I can tell you right now, we wouldn't have tons of transportation dollars had it not been for Joe Forsley and his involvement in the Southwest Council of Mayors, and taught me a lot. I was side by side with him. A lot of late nights throughout the region and Evergreen Park and Palos Hills, wherever they had those meetings, we used to go to. So a lot of fun over the years, many stories that I've got. After every meeting, I know everybody kind of like goes out and relaxes a little bit. We used to go to George's restaurant, and it was the only place that was open kind of late night then. And we'd have coffee and pie and so forth. And a lot of times Joe would be driving. I'd make him stop at White Hen to get milk so I can take it home. So, little stories like that are just fun facts that, he was a great guy and always willing to talk to people. And he was a great man, a great mayor, and quite frankly, a great friend to me. I'll miss him, and my condolences out there to Bernice and the family. Sam was a good friend of mine. We went to high school together and friends for many, many years. And I was always treated like family when I was in their house, and I really appreciated that. So he was a great man, and he'll be missed. And I'm sure other people are going to chime in and kind of say some of the same things similar to that, because he touched a lot of people, and quite frankly, he made a big difference in the village of Lamont. Thanks.
Thanks, Rick. And to reiterate what Rick mentioned, a lot of what we're getting lucky enough to execute on now is obviously the work and planning of several administrations, not only from Mayor Forsley to Rick to John Piazza to Brian Reeves. I mean, this doesn't just come about. So it's a great tribute to the vision that, Mayor Forsley had, and hopefully we can continue to execute on everyone's, work that they've done through the years. I know we have some other guests as well. Mayor John Piazza, do you want to You want to go next?
Sure. Thanks, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good to go.
Oh, good. Okay, great. I'm going to be repeating a lot of what you guys just said. Joe was just a great man. He was a great mayor. He was really my mentor. He taught me a whole lot, like he taught Rick. And it's just sad because in today's world, politicians are so divisive, right? You have to choose a side, or you decide to choose a side. And he was the type of guy that brought people together. You couldn't tell if he was Democrat, Republican, or whatever, because he was all about Lamont, and that's the way it should be. All politics are local. And he was the type of guy that would listen to what you had to say, not just listen, but he would hear what you had to say. And he wanted to understand your position, and he can, wanted to make things better. And but he was truly, probably one of the most genuine people I knew. And I don't think I'll meet somebody like that again. We had a lot of fun, like you guys mentioned too. I'd take him out Nick's, or once in a while would maybe make it all the way to Rocco's or Manhattan, Joliet, and for lunch during the day. And sometimes Sam and Bernice would be a little upset with me when he came in a little late, but he was always in good shape. So, but I do miss that because we laughed a whole lot. I thought I could make him laugh pretty well, and he did the same to me. So, but he was a very proud man. He was proud of being mayor. He was proud of being in the Hall of Fame at Lamont High School. He was, mostly proud of his kids and his grandkids and stuff. So, excuse me. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to talk long, because I knew I'd break down a little bit. But he was a great man, a great friend. I'm going to miss him dearly. So, thanks for letting me say a few words.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. And just reiterate everything you say. I think all of us do. And in addition, Mayor Brian Reeves, he couldn't join us tonight, but he has a couple of sentiments very similar. This is from Mayor Brian Reeves. He goes, "I first want to thank Joe for his guidance and support through my time as mayor of Lamont. I always knew if I needed a good sounding board to run an idea past, he was the guy. I could always count on him to give me an honest opinion of whatever I asked. He will be missed very much, and Sherry and I have had Bernice and the family in our prayers." In closing, there was no higher praise than when Joe would say to me, "You're doing a great job, Mayor. Keep it up." Again, that's from Brian Reeves, and good to hear from Brian. We wish him and his family nothing but the best. He's been obviously out of state for the last several years, but great to hear his comments on Joe as well. So we've heard from a couple of past mayors. I know there's some trustees out there. I know Cliff, you're out there as well. If anyone wants to say any more, say a few words about Joe, the platform's open. I don't know, George, if you want to maybe try and coordinate if anyone has their hands up.
Yeah, if you, anybody who wants to speak, put your hand up, or you can jump right in now, or turn it back over to you, Mayor.
John, I'd reiterate what both Rick and John Piazza said, that I remember the night I won my first election, and he was there, Joe was there, and he put his arm around me, congrats. And he said, "If you ever need anything, please call." He taught me, as Rick said, how to deal with people, how to try to defer people, how to try to calm people down. He was he was a wealth of knowledge. He really was, and he'll be truly missed. As John Piazza said, he was proud of all his accomplishments, but he was truly proud of Lamont. He was proud, and if he thought you were doing wrong, he wanted to hear why, or if he thought you were wrong or I was wrong in the way I voted or supported something, he wanted to hear it, and he was open-minded. He gave great advice, and he listened. He was a great listener, and he'll as everyone said, he'll be truly, truly missed.
Thanks, Cliff. Anyone else have their hands up, George?
Nope, I think that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. We do have a couple of things we want to do to honor Mayor Forsley. Mayor Kwasniewski, do you want to maybe share one of the things that you're working on?
Yeah, thanks. So one of the things we collectively, between the mayors and myself, coordinated with our Congressman Dan Lipinski, and there has been a flag flown over the Capitol in Joe Forsley's honor. And also Congressman Lipinski did read into the congressional record some good thoughts and comments on Joe's career and what he meant to the village of Lamont. Those both of those items are coming, so we're hoping we get those in maybe perhaps the next week, and then we'll try to make arrangements to present them to the family. And it's just something that Mayor Yagowski and Mayor Piazza and myself felt was important that we, got to Dan Lipinski, and Dan was very gracious, and he knew Joe, and his comments that he put together, really kind of resurrected his relationship with Joe, and showing Joe's dedication to Lamont and how important it was. So we should get those shortly, and then we'll make sure we figure out something with the family to present, perhaps in the next week or 10 days or so.
Great, thanks, Rick. In addition, as mayor of Lamont, I'm very proud on behalf of the entire village board that we're going to dedicate a street in honor of Mayor Forsley. I see George has got it up there. We're working on, I think it's going to be Stephen Street with the family's blessing. We want to make sure everyone's on board. We've talked to the family, but look for that. And that's another thing that, we want to pick the right day. Obviously, we're living in different times with COVID, but we want to make sure we get those signs up in an orderly fashion. So we're very excited about that. Before we close out, I know we have several members from the family. I want to thank everyone for being on the line, all the family members. Don't know if anyone from the family wants to say a couple of words. I understand if you don't, but again, want to thank the entire Forsley family. It's just, it's unbelievable. Bernice and Joe, the family, that they've, been able to nurture and raise over time. And, it's just amazing, how, as the multiple generations, kids, grandkids, great grandkids, it's just phenomenal to see generation after generation still in Lamont, several of them. So we're very proud of that as well. So again, we thank the Forsley family. We thank you, Bernice, and it's a privilege to honor Mayor Joe Forsley. Again, George, don't know if we have anyone else. So again, thank you, and want to thank Mayor Kwasniewski, Mayor Piazza for joining us tonight, as well as Cliff. And again, it just goes to show you how great of a guy, a gentleman, and a leader Joe was for Lamont. So we're lucky to have had him. All right. With that being said, in addition, unfortunately, we've lost two other, unfortunately, residents, this past week. We lost a resident, Mike Gardner. Mike and the Gardner family, again, great stalwarts of the town of Lamont. Mike, coached many activities. In addition, was very proactive in the business community. Just worked on, all the cards and coupon cards. Those were sent out by Mike's company. Mike passed away last week, so we wish his family, his extended family, his wife Carrie, and his daughters McKenna and Morgan the best. Mike was definitely too young of a guy to be passing, so we wish his young girls nothing but the best. In addition, unfortunately, another person that made an enormous impact on Lamont, Joyce FL, passed away. Joyce was a friend to many and was an artist that painted her love of our downtown on the buildings and streets on canvas for several years. Many residents have her paintings and prints. These are part of our history, and Joyce will certainly be remembered as a dear friend, and we will celebrate her life through her paintings forever. Our deepest sympathy goes out to her family and friends, as well as the gardeners as well. Couple other comments here. Try and get through these quickly. Regarding the COVID-19, the Illinois Department of Public Health is monitoring indicators that show an increase in COVID-19 disease burden with a simultaneous decrease in hospital capacity, or if there are 3 consecutive days greater than or equal to 8% test positive rate for a 7-day rolling average. These are the indicators that will determine whether additional community mitigation interventions are needed for a region to control the further spread of COVID-19. Again, we are in Region 10, but a couple comments on other regions. Region 7, which includes Will and Kankakee, just over the border in Will, they have seen additional mitigation requirements due to elevated positivity rates. Region 7 is currently on a downward trend, and hopefully they can continue to bring their positivity rate down and cancel their additional mitigation requirements, which includes no more indoor dining. And that's again in Region 7. In Region 4, which is called the Metro East, which includes St. Louis, is not seeing a downward trend, but again, they are definitely on the watch. So we have to be very, proactive. We're in Region 10, which is the suburban Cook County. Again, this excludes the city of Chicago. It's basically all of Cook outside of Chicago. According to the CDC website, who is tracking the numbers over the past 30 days, we have been going up. We've had some downturns, but as of September 10th, Region 10 was at 6.3%. And we were just at 5.8% on September 9th. We are not consistently going down. We are very close to the 8% threshold. So we will have to continue to monitor this regardless of how the numbers are calculated. And there's obviously much debate on these numbers. The bottom line is that the CDC is going by the data they have. So we have to live by the 8%. We encourage all residents and visitors of Lamont to follow the CDC guidelines and continue to wear face coverings, maintain social distancing, and wash your hands frequently. Also, discussions regarding events and specifically trick-or-treating are circulating around. Many municipalities are waiting whether any guidelines will be published from the CDC. If they do, as a municipality, we will need to adhere to these guidelines. We will certainly be informing residents of any decisions. Next up, $50 million. That number indicates how much money we will lose in the next 10 years based on the number of people who have not yet submitted their 2020 census. That equates to about $500,000 a year. So we need everyone's help in this. Please ask your friends, family, and neighbors if they have completed their 2020 census so we can get our fair share of federal funds. Again, this is based on our census as a village. We need everyone's help. You can complete your 2020 census by phone, online, or by mail. Visit 2020census.gov to complete the online form or call 844-330-2020. Next up, in a continued effort to promote our businesses, we ask residents, businesses, and visitors to Lamont to visit and share our recently created website and Facebook page. Lamont Downtown. This website is lamontdowntown.com. And the Facebook page is Lamont Downtown. So please check that out. Please share that. Lastly, our Historical Society and the Lamont Garden Club are holding a flower bulb purchase fundraiser. Due to COVID, neither of these organizations were able to hold their annual fundraisers, and both contribute so much to our history and beautification of our downtown. Please visit the Lamont Area Historical Society and Museum Facebook page or the Lamont Garden Club for additional information. So that was a mouthful. That pretty much wraps up what we have for the mayor's report. Again, we want to thank the Forsley family and all of our residents and former leaders that have joined us tonight. We appreciate your thoughts and comments. With that being said, we're next up, the clerk's report. Charlene, you want to take over?
Sure. This evening, if passed, the first ordinance would be O-58-20. And this is amending the Lamont Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04. And that's liquor licenses. And that's creating a Class A-2-X liquor license for businesses prohibiting video gaming.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So moves, Nagowski.
Second, Stapleton.
All right, we have a motion by trustee Snagowski, seconded by trustee Stapleton. Jason, you want to take this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. This ordinance and the following two are all related to the same business in downtown Lamont. We are working with the business owners, had the liquor commission meeting earlier today. Initially, they came into the village looking to open a restaurant, and after meeting with the fire district and the code officials and the like, realized that taking an old building into a restaurant will take some time and money. So as they continue to work towards that, they presented a plan to the village that creates sort of a hybrid. The Class A2 is the tavern license, so they intend to have public events where they would host people in a tavern type setting where they'd serve liquor, and as well as be able to offer the space available for private rental. So you can rent the whole space. And with that, sought to have BYOB made available. We discussed this at the July committee of the whole. I think everybody was on board with BYOB. There were some concerns about video gaming. And so the A2X, this X classification is meant to exclude video gaming from any of our POR licenses. And that's something I worked on with the village attorney, Mike Stillman. We followed some models in other communities, and this kind of goes along the lines of our longer term plans to revamp the liquor licenses to create separate classifications for business with gaming and business without gaming. And so in the short term, before we're able to tackle that, we got the okay to go ahead with creating this X classification. The applicants are aware of it, they accept it, and understand that they would not be allowed to have gaming, and they're okay there. As they work on their plans to bring their restaurant concept to fruition, they may come back to the village and seek a full, I think that would be an A1, but whatever the restaurant license would be.
Thanks, Jason. Does anyone else have any trustees have any other questions or concerns regarding this?
Nope.
Okay. I know as this comes into play, there'll be more issues flushed out. Obviously, this is very common, I believe, Mike, in other municipalities. So, you know, I know just on the meeting we had prior to this one that, you know, there are still some details that need to be, you know, worked out. But again, you know, our goal is to have a vibrant downtown with businesses and establishments that people are proud of and that, you know, want to go to. You know, that's what makes our town even more enjoyable, and it drives value is when we have the establishments and the places and in the businesses that people will actually travel to, not only in town, but outside of town. So again, this is something that we're working on. This type of liquor license, you know, will potentially drive another establishment and provide a, you know, an establishment that will fill a need. And I think the market is kind of dictating that. It sounds like other municipalities have recently dealt with the same type of requests, so we're not the first ones in line. I know, Mike, you worked on a couple
We
with
have.
other municipalities.
It's being done more and more throughout the state, especially in our area. The Liquor Control Act gives you the ability to do as many classifications as you wish. So it's under your authority to do this, and it's common. Tinley Park has done it, Orland Park, Oak Lawn, Wheeling, Westmont. So it's very common.
Got it. Thanks, Mike. Okay, if there isn't any other questions or comments by the trustees, Charlene, do you want to take a roll call, please?
Sure. Snagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge,
Yes.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved.
The next item, if passed this evening, also an ordinance, this would be O-59-20. And this is amending the Lamont Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04. And this section is 5.04.060. And this is dealing with alcoholic beverages, increasing the number of Class A-2-X liquor licenses.
Okay, we need a motion, please.
So moved. Maher.
Snagowski.
Okay, we have
Second, Maher.
We have a motion by trustee Snagowski, seconded by trustee Maher. Jason, anything else to add on this?
Nothing new. Having approved the creation of A2X, this would grant that license to the Main Street business.
Great. Any other questions or comments by the trustees? Roll call, please, Charlene.
Snagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge,
Yes.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved.
The next ordinance if passed would be O-60-20. And this is an ordinance amending the Lamont Municipal Code of Chapter 5.04, Section 5.04.060. And this is alcoholic beverages again. And this is increasing the number of Class D-1 liquor licenses.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So moved.
So moved. Kittredge.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Kittredge, seconded by trustee Stapleton. Jason, are you taking this one as well?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. So D1 is the new BYOB, bring your own bottle classification. To confirm, we did check with the Illinois Liquor Control Commission. Places are allowed to hold both a liquor license and a BYOB license. Somewhat unusual since most people would want to sell liquor, but we did work with village attorney to create that liquor license. It does have requirements for serving, BASSET training and the like, corkage fees and et cetera. And we'll continue to work with the property owners on making sure that they understand the requirements of this. It is a liquor license, and we'll work with police chief and attorney Stillman to make sure they understand the rules regarding BYOB.
Thank you, Jason. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Snagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge,
Yes.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved.
The next item, if passed this evening, would be a resolution R-39-20. And this is approving an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Lamont and the Village of Romeoville.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So
So
moved.
moved, McClafferty.
Okay, I didn't catch, was it trustee McClafferty, seconded by trustee Stapleton? Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, all right. George, you want to take this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The proposed resolution before you tonight is an intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Romeoville. The village has been working closely with the Village of Romeoville for the last several months on an agreement that will help facilitate utility extension and future development in the general area of 135th Street west of Smith Road. The agreement outlines terms for a voluntary disconnection of property from the Village of Romeoville by the Romeoville Village Board. And the agreement outlines the terms that'll trigger that disconnection. There's a long way to go on any development west of Smith Road, but this is an important first step. There'll be future coordination with the property owners in the area, Citgo Petroleum, also with MWRD for sewer extension. But this is an important first step, and more importantly, just outlines the true intergovernmental cooperation we have with Romeoville. I want to thank them for helping us work on this project together. They've already approved their side of the agreement. So once we approve ours, it'll be fully executed. And I think it's important to understand that, as we talked about, that any disconnection will take place as we move forward with any development entitlement process. So long way to go, but this is an important and good first step.
Thanks, George. And again, we want to, thank the Village of Romeoville. Again, we've been working on this for several years, and this is, similar to, some of our other neighbors. We just annexed property for the new Shell gas station that we talked about, the liquor license earlier. Excited to see that opening potentially as early as next month. Again, if we don't do it in Lamont, it's going to happen in another town. So this is, again, another development that fortunately we've been able to work with Romeoville on to make it a win-win. This will be territory on the west side, west of Smith Road. That will be territory that potentially will be annexed into Lamont. And, we could see, it be potentially development. It could be development in the form of industrial, but that industrial will be specific to 135th Street that has been widened to 4 lanes. And if there is additional truck traffic, again, we want to focus that traffic on those roads. That's why those roads were expanded. And, again, potentially this development, can go into Lamont. So appreciate their assistance on that. With that being said, any other questions or comments from any of the other trustees? Okay, roll call, please.
Snagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge,
Yes.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved.
The next item I have would also be a resolution if passed this evening, and it's R-40-20. And this is authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement to join the Joliet Metropolitan Area Narcotics Squad, known as MANS.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So moved. Snagowski.
Second, Kwasniewski.
Okay, we got a motion by trustee Snagowski, seconded by trustee Kwasniewski. Chief, are you going to take this one?
Oh, you're muted, Chief. I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. Last year, the recreational cannabis law, when it became legal, part of that legislation dedicated 8% of the statewide tax revenue for municipal police departments to supplement the public safety concerns that we raised over our concerns of the new legislation. The money was to be dedicated to mostly enforcement and training and those arenas. My biggest concern when we were looking at legalization was obviously the user population and driving, but also what other states have experienced in Colorado and California a couple of years after legalization. And when the customer market became mature, the cartels moved in to start producing black market marijuana to undercut the legal sales. We haven't yet seen that here, but we're very nascent in our legalization efforts. We have determined over the course, we've been getting tax revenue since the beginning of the year. We're anticipating that we're going to get in the area of $7,000 to $10,000 in that statewide tax revenue. And while not a windfall, it will allow us to address some issues. Because of the size of my detective unit, if we do get cartel black market operations, it'll just be an overwhelming feat for us to work these investigations. Multi-jurisdictional task forces operate under the Illinois State Police. They're similar to what we just joined a few months ago in the Merit, which was a major crimes task force. They operate in a similar way. They typically agencies dedicate personnel to that, and that makes up the staffing of the unit. Since the cannabis money is going to a lot of the small towns, the Joliet Man's Unit Advisory Board is allowing the smaller police departments to join as monetary contributors. We would not have to dedicate personnel to that. The amount that they're annually that they're asking for is $5,000. That would be paid for by the tax revenue that we're getting from the statewide tax. And I think it's a good leveraging of that money to be able to bring in a dedicated drug unit if we ever need that. In addition to the marijuana, they would be available to do any type of a drug investigation for us. And if you remember, it was this type of unit that had the undercover capabilities that targeted the massage parlor when we shut them down a few months ago. That's the type of unit that we'd be bringing in and have access to. So even though, we voted to opt out and not have a dispensary in the area, we were not able to prevent Lamont residents from using, or obviously cartels from coming in. The unit is led by the Illinois State Police, but it's overseen by an advisory board similar to Merit that's made up of the chiefs of the participating agencies. And the chairman of that is the chief of Lockport at this time. Their unit is dedicated to narcotics and gun trafficking investigations.
Okay, thanks, Chief. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Mark?
Yeah, this is Trustee Maher. I have a question. Chief, are there other squads like this that are close to us? What if there are? What was our decision to go with Joliet versus another one?
Well, the closest other one is DuPage County, which is north of us, because we are in the three counties. We had the options of going to either of those two. The Cook County unit that is similar to that. There's about 15 of these units statewide. The Cook County unit disbanded probably in 2001 or 2002. They have not reformed, and for a long time, until recently, they didn't allow monetary contributors. The DuPage unit also does monetary contributions, but their level is about $12,000 a year, which might exceed what we're going to be taking in from this. The Joliet Men's Unit agreed to work investigations in Cook County and in County State's Attorney, and we figure this is a good, benefit for the Lemont Police Department for $5,000 a year to have this capability.
And then how long would this agreement last?
It's an annual agreement.
Okay.
And we can leave at, at any time. It doesn't have
Okay.
to be at the end of the year. Yeah.
Thank you. No more questions.
Any other trustees have any comments or questions? All right, roll call, please.
Oh, I didn't know we had a motion.
We had a motion by, I thought we had a motion by trustee Snagowski and,
Yes.
yeah, and Stapleton, I believe. Was it, who seconded it?
I think I did.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. Okay, but we already voted on that. I just called the roll call before his report. We had 6 ayes.
I think we're good. Maybe we have a motion to approve in second. So just if we could do another roll call, maybe. Or
Do
I'll
it
make a
again.
motion for another roll call.
Okay. I'll do it again. I'm getting good at this. Okay. Snagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge,
yes,
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty.
Yes.
Okay.
all right, motion approved.
All right. That's all I have this evening, Mr. Mayor.
I don't know if it was again, but if it was again, we'll go with it.
All
Thanks,
right.
Shirley. Appreciate
That's
it.
okay.
Appreciate it. All right, next up, village attorney report.
I don't have anything this evening, Mr.
All right,
Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. George, do you have anything?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just briefly wanted to reset the meeting schedule for the next couple of months. We'll have a committee of the whole meeting on Monday, the 21st. Couple of our other committees are meeting on the 23rd and 24th, the H-Corps, Heritage and Outdoor Recreation Committee on the 23rd. 24th, if anyone is interested, attended the last Environmental Commission meeting and there wasn't anybody online. Maybe we need to promote it some more, but if anyone gets a chance, we'll send out that Zoom link as well. Board meeting on the 28th, we're going to try to do, start to try to bring people back live for a meeting. We're going to test it out on the 28th with just the mayor and Charlene and myself. We'll do kind of a hybrid meeting and then see how it goes. And then maybe in October, we can bring a few more people back. Still doing it safely, but trying to get used to our new normal here, while being safe as well. So we're going to try that out on the 28th. But again, still complying with all the requirements of the Open Meeting Act and state's rules for open meetings. Just another quick reminder to get a chance, check out our new website. There's a couple other tools that we're still revamping, but I think we're pretty close to having the finished product. Stay Informed, which is a little bit less timely notifications, more community news, events, news about board meetings. That goes out on our Stay Informed platform. Emergency notifications, that's a different system, but I think that's important. It gives police department, public works a little bit more abilities in the field to send out notifications that are time sensitive. And then also what we're trying to do a little bit more from a staff level is automate concerns that are out there with infrastructure, complaints or reminders about things going on in town is to try to automate it a little bit more. So there's a report of concern section of our website as well. And just wanted to remind everybody that our website is fully mobile compliant. So there is no app anymore. You don't need an app, but everything is compliant on your mobile device. And lastly, I just want to remind residents or get the information out on October 3rd. Speaking of the Environmental Commission, they're hosting their fall recycling event. They took the spring off due to COVID. Work through some different ways they can have an event safely on October 3rd. A lot of these, functions and features are available through the Village's recycling program. If you call ahead, But there are some other opportunities here. Document disposal, which is pretty popular. Also bicycle recycling. And if you just had a bunch of electronics or other materials to drop off, this is a good opportunity as well. That's going to be October 3rd in the Metro lot. And that is all I have for you today, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, George, real quick, maybe I missed it. The recycling for like motor fuel and oil.
Yeah.
I know for residents, they could still go through waste management, correct? If they
Correct.
call
They can do that throughout the year. And we talked to the Environmental Commission a little bit about that. I think they're gathering data on how well it's being used, and it's still being used a lot, but you do have to call ahead and schedule an appointment and leave your materials out at a certain time. But they are going to collect them at this event as well. But motor oil, electronic recycling, light bulb collection, battery collection, that's all through our waste management program. So we'll see what happens with this event going forward, but they're going to have it. At the very least, document disposal has become very popular. When we canceled in spring, we got some questions or complaints on that, but I think going forward, we'll look at it in conjunction with the waste management contract. But they're going to have this event one more time, October 3rd.
No, that's good. I'm glad they are. I got a couple of questions. So no, it's good that we're having the event, but the backup is always waste management.
Yep.
So. All right. Sounds good. Thanks, George. Do we have any other board reports? Any staff reports?
I have one, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Ralph.
Yeah, really quick. I want to remind our residents that IDOT is back on 83 working on those bridges again. Currently, they have the northbound lane closed at Archer Avenue, and they're detouring you towards Willow Springs. And once they get done with this northbound lane, they'll be switching over to the southbound, creating more headaches. But that work should be wrapped up by mid-October with IDOT. That's all I have tonight, sir.
Ralph, as usual, October of what year, please?
Yes, good question. Well, I'll keep you updated as I get more from IDOT.
All right, so hopefully they stick to this time frame, obviously, and that was no joke. They said September of, I think, of 1 year, and it was 12 months later. So hopefully they're able to get that complete. I know it was a mess today. I went through it one way. So residents need to be adding a little bit more time. If you're going northbound, you will get diverted. Mark, Chief, do you got anything for us?
Yeah, real quick, Mr. Mayor. About 3 years ago, we started a program called Lock It or Lose It in response to what we had then was a number of juvenile car burglaries crews running around the Chicago area. And their target at the time was to steal, the contents of inside a car. And occasionally, if there was keys left in the car, they would take the car. That is proliferated, and Chicago police now estimate there's about 20 to 30 crews that are operating around this area, and many of them are no longer juveniles, and they're armed, and they're potentially violent folks. They've migrated from trying to steal the contents of the vehicle to just coming out to try to steal vehicles. They realize that they could take these stolen vehicles and use them in other crimes. So they come out to the suburban areas, they steal cars, they're used in armed robberies and shootings in Chicago, and then abandon, and then the cycle starts again. I think what we want to pass along to folks is, we're vigilant from these crews, but we really need to reinforce to lock the doors, to keep your unlocked vehicles that are outside that have garage door openers in, because that's what they'll do. They'll open the garage door, they'll go inside and steal the car inside the garage door. They have, if they're confronted, they have shot inside houses in other suburbs. We don't have any confirmed deaths yet in that, but if somebody sees these crews inside their driveway do not confront them, call the police. We'll get there. We're trying to build out our LPR program so that, potentially when these stolen vehicles enter the Lamont, they'll alert our officers and we'll at least know they're in town and be able to start targeting them. But we need the public's help and A, please lock your doors. B, don't confront these crews because they're not, juvenile property thieves anymore.
Hey, Chief, just to reiterate that, so I've received, quite a bit of, concern phone calls, and bottom line is even if the police are there or could be there, I mean, we cannot pursue them in a high-speed chase. Is that correct?
No, they know that. So they flee, they run. If they're cornered, they shoot at the police, and they know what the rules of the things we can and cannot do, and that's why they use stolen cars. They wear hoodies, so they've taken advantage of all the different rules in the law that protect really property criminals. And then you add to that in Cook County where they won't charge anybody, and it's just it's a bad situation that's getting worse. It's like a modern day banditry.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Well, thanks, Chief. And again, reiterate, bottom line is just keep your doors locked, right? And I know it's a continuing message, but it doesn't get old. And we continue. It used to always be like right around Christmas, we would see them. Well, now it's, they might hit Friday night and they might come back, a different crew, not even known, might come back on Saturday night in a totally different subdivision. So they are very random. It sounds like there are definitely more crews. And unfortunately, it sounds like they're getting more, more sophisticated.
Right. The early crews were just looking for the contents of the vehicle, and that's why they came at Christmas time. But now the car itself is the target.
So, all right. Thanks, Chief. All right. Any other unfinished or new business?
Trustee Snagowski had his hand up. Rick, I don't know.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yes, I want to touch on this just under new business, and it's just a repeat, John, of what you just said. But really, it's the same with the COVID. We really have to get the citizens of town to realize that we need to help ourselves. We need to wear our mask. We need to lock our cars. It takes much more time to make the calls after the fact than it does to do these preventative things ahead of time. So please, everybody, just do what you're being advised to do, and it'll save you a lot of time in the back end, not having to make the call and us trying to chase and have the chief look into these claims of theft. I mean, you hear a lot about it, but it's always after the fact. Let's hear about it ahead of time. Let's take the preventative measures that we're being advised all the time, and let's do them and force them upon ourselves. That's it.
Thanks, Rick. Anyone else on the board have any other thoughts or comments? Okay, next up is our audience participation. George, you want to take the lead on this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I mentioned earlier, many opportunities to participate. This is the section of the agenda where you can participate on anything that you'd like. The same rules will apply in terms of timing, 3-minute max, as if we're in a regular meeting, but we're using the raise your hand feature on Zoom. So I will look around, wait a second or two, and see if there's any comment. And I don't see any raised hands, but as always, if you had any comments for this meeting, future meetings, please email that into the village's general email box, and we can address them at a future meeting. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, George. Yeah, and to reiterate, we've had people email in before, so if you email in, we can read it out loud as well, and comment as necessary. So Thanks, George. Want to thank everyone for joining the meeting tonight. We don't have any executive session. So with that being said, I need a motion to adjourn.
Hey, Mayor.
Yes.
Oh, sorry about that. I did have, there was one thumbs up. Sometimes people get confused on, so I don't know, Kathy, did you have anything or was that a thumbs up for the meeting or feel free?
Yes. That was a thumbs up for a good meeting, and I enjoyed the comments regarding our former mayor, Forsley. It was a good meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy. Anyone else?
Make a
George?
motion to adjourn.
All right. We got a motion by trustee Snagowski. We need a second.
Second, trustee McClafferty.
Second by trustee McClafferty. Again, want to thank everyone. Have a great week. We need a roll call to make it official. Go ahead, Charlene.
Snagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge,
Yes.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty.
Yes.
All right, motion approved. Everyone have a great week. Thank you.